Welcome back to another edition of Right Way Wednesday.
It's your favorite couple.
You better know it.
And tonight, we're going to be talking about things we wish we knew before we got married. You know, it's a lot of things that you know what I'm saying, you think you know, and things that you think that you want in the relationship. And sometimes it just doesn't pan out that way. And a lot of times people don't warn you about the, situations and things like that. And you don't really know how to handle them because you've never been taught those things.
Right.
And over the course of 15 years, we've learned a good little bit. So it's definitely going to be a part 2 to this video.
Yes.
It may be 3, 4, 5, maybe even be a whole series.
Because there's a lot of stuff that we didn't know before we got married. And so we know it's a lot of stuff that you didn't know
before you got married or before you even got into that relationship.
Correct.
So we're just going to try to go over a couple of things and, try to get into our own, let you know how we deal with stuff.
Not saying that's how you got to deal with it,
right.
But this was the situation. This is how we dealt with it, and we hope that it can help.
We wish.
So stupid.
But the first thing is was bringing two different cultures together, and I know we're both of the same ethnicity. But there are two different ways that we both were raised. We were raised in two different households. We weren't brought up. I hope some of y'all ain't raised in the same house, But we're not gonna talk about that's a whole other dynamic.
Yeah, we ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right. But we were brought up in two different households. She was raised a certain way. I was raised a certain way. We cook different. We clean up different. We look at situations differently. So
how we raise our kids, we look at it differently.
Right. So those are things that we're gonna be talking about in this
over
video,
this little series.
Over this series, and so. But the two cultures, bringing them two together, trying to make the cohesiveness be one. It's a struggle at times. A lot of people think that it's always going to be my famous line, rainbows and
oh God.
But you have to work through those things, and it's just stuff. Bringing those two cultures together is hard, and but at the same time, the dynamics of it, you can have a piece of what you bring and a piece of what she brings, or and put them together, and you can make it your own.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to do it that way, you can. There's nothing wrong with trying to do it that way. There's nothing wrong with trying to piece it together. Be like, well, my family do it like this, and this is how we gonna do it. That's the end all be all. No, it's not always like that. Sometimes you're gonna have to do what other people do what other people want sometimes. But
sometimes. Yeah, just the merging of the two, like he said, the merging of the two cultures, trying to bring those things together. Like in his house, the way he grew up, they do fish and spaghetti, y'all. Fish and spaghetti.
It's food. We eat.
For one meal. But in my house,
we like to eat. We like to eat. You know what I mean?
But in my house, how I grew up, fish was one meal, spaghetti was one meal. You just don't know how, for a while, we had an issue, because I like to eat fish and salad or fish and fries. He wants spaghetti every time. But we had to merge those two together. Sometimes we do fish and spaghetti. Sometimes we do fish and salad. It's small and simple, but those are the kind of little things, what they call the little foxes, that'll break your house apart, because y'all can't compromise on something that small. Well, my grandma used to do such and such and such and such. Well, my mama didn't ever do it like that. And that, no.
It'd be little art, like you said,
the little
foxes that you really ain't even have to deal with it.
Right.
If you just go ahead and just be like, all right, cuz, we're going to try it this way. If I like it, we're going to, keep it moving. It ain't always got to be your way or the highway. And I think that's the dilemma that I have with this culture, or this age of relationships that we have, is the fact that the first sign of trouble or the first sign of a disagreement or anything,
I don't want to be with them no more.
I don't want to be with them no more. I'm ready to go. It's over with. I can't deal with
this. But when you bringing those two things together, you got to realize it's not going to be easy. It's crashing two cars together, trying to make them one.
Trying to get these things tough.
But you have to always look at, even though y'all done crashed together, you still trying to get to the same place. You have to keep that.
Becoming the one.
You got to keep that in your forefront. Okay, all of these different things are going to come. Yes, how I believe, and I was raised by some really free people, okay? I don't mind kids jumping in the bed and things like that. But where he from, he don't do that.
The bed is for laying down and for those other things.
So I'm more of the free spirit, whereas he is more of the disciplinarian. He was raised different. You know, it was certain points that had to be checked off. Mm-hmm. And so when it came into the raising of our children, that was one of the things we kind of bumped heads on, which I'm paying for it now.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later. That's going to be on another video, the discipline and everything like that.
Okay.
The other thing that we wanted to talk about was the compromise. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of hinting at that with the bringing of the two cultures together, because you have to compromise with one another. And sometimes you even have to sit down and have a meeting with your partner, your spouse, or whatever, in order to write things out, to hash things out, because you don't want, like we were saying, you don't want to have those little foxes and, you know, those little arguments build up to a big argument and you not deal with it. You've been holding it for years, and you just not want to deal with it no more, or you don't want to deal with that person. You just be like, look, it's over. I don't think I can do this no more. Like, I got to go, Becky. No, you know, it's just, you know, stuff like that.
Not Becky.
You know, it's just stuff that you, I mean, because it could be as simple as, you know, she not washing the dishes, or he's not taking out the trash. He didn't pick up his socks. He's not picking up his clothes. He just throws his shoes in the corner when he get off of work. He throws his clothes on. You know, little things like that can lead to bigger fights and ultimately end your relationship. But you can prevent that if you do the preventative maintenance of sitting down and be like, look,
figuring out a compromise.
I'm about sick and
works
tired.
For both of you, yeah.
I'm about sick and tired of you dropping your clothes off at the door, bro. You need to pick them up. I ain't no housemaid. I work too.
Right.
You know? And it's just those, and sometimes, a lot of times, the men don't really like to listen to their wives or their significant others. They'll just rather be like, I'm the man. Listen to me. You know, but it's not always that case.
But then you got some women that I'm the wife. I'm the woman. I know what's best. Listen to me.
Yeah.
You know, when it all said and done, you're going to have to come back to me anyway. And I got to fix it. Because it's a lot of women that run their households, not trying to get in nobody's business.
Right.
Not saying that that's wrong. If that worked for you, that worked for you. What we're saying is you got to figure out a line of compromise to keep the marriage going, to keep the relationship flowing. That y'all can get along. Okay, so if you know that he like to drop his drawers at the door, you need to have a basket at the door.
Simple compromise, simple fix, you know. Like
everything don't have to be a fight.
Everything don't have to be a fight.
Everything don't have to be a fight.
And like what we learn, like from our mentors, you know, either you're going to be happy or you're going to be right.
You can't be both all the time.
Can't be both all the time. So you got to choose one, whether it be in picking up other clothes, taking out of the garbage, or whatever. You have to learn to be able to say, hey, this week is my turn, next week is your turn. Mm-hmm. Okay, I cooked this night, you cooked that night.
Right.
Okay, when you come home, if your dish is not washed or whatever, you can't be mad because the day ain't over with. They may wash them after the next time you have dinner. You can't be mad because, you know, it's just those little things that you want to compromise on, that you want to go ahead and try to have done, or try to sit down and have a good talk.
Right.
A good sit down.
Compromise can save your marriage.
A whole lot of people. Relationships that can lead into marriage if you just compromise.
If you just compromise. We're so big on what we want, how we want, when we want. And it's no stretch in people anymore. Yeah. Like people are so gung-ho on what how can I say it? We're so self-aware now. We're so I'm self-preservation. I got to take care of myself. It's all about how I feel right now. I've worked on everybody else, but look, when you in a relationship that possibly you may want to be married one day, you got to take that part of selfishness out. Marriage, relationship, long-standing commitment to one another, it takes compromise.
Unselfishness.
And it also takes our next point, communication. You gotta have that communication. None of this other stuff can exist if you don't communicate with one another.
It's deep. It's deeper than rap. But you got to have the communication. You got to be able to, and I know sometimes it's hard for men to express their views, their values, the things that they feel on the inside. And a lot of times we internalize things, we keep stuff on the inside, and we don't really express it to our wives, our children, or things like that. But a key, give a point, a key way of doing that is if you're not really good at speaking or good at voicing your opinion or voicing things, you can write them down. Mm-hmm. You know, get you a piece of paper, and like if you want to have a sit down with your wife or your significant other and communicate things that you don't like, because a lot of times you get caught up in the heat of the moment and you forget stuff. Yeah. So if you remember, as soon as you remember it, we got phones now the way you don't even have to have a pen and paper. You can have it on your notes and be like, hey, I got notes on my phone, and we pull it up and we'll sit down and we'll go point for point, and the communication goes both ways. It's a two-way street. So you can't always just project what you want onto that other person and want them to conform to what you want, and you won't give them any conformity to what they want and what they need. Mm-hmm. So you got to have that. It's a two-way street. So you got to have that communication. You got to have that point of sit down and reference, that point of sitting down and talking to that person you love, because ultimately that's the reason communication exists, is because you love them and you don't want to lose them. Right.
Yeah, you have to have the communication, and then sometimes I feel like you need to have those communication times when it happens. So many times we wait and we let stuff fester. Or well, you said such and such Friday. Okay, so it's Sunday. He done said something else, or she done said something else. They done forgot what they said then, but you still holding on to it when you could have just said something at that moment. Hey, baby, I didn't like when you said this. I didn't like when you said that, or I didn't like how you reacted to this, or I didn't like when the kids came in, you did such and such and such and such. Communicate those things at that moment. Like Tristan and I, we talk about everything all the time, and wives, because I'm guilty, I'm finna put myself on the chopping block. Don't put them in a position.
Exclusive.
Don't put them in the position where they don't want to communicate. Because every time they communicate, it's a lash at them, or they think you're gonna be upset. Like we're always on the defense, or you know, it's a lot of different little things that may have happened over your life. You know, we're broken people, especially in a relationship trying to come into one. You got a lot of different little stuff
coming out of.
Yeah, that you've come with. So don't put them in a position where they stop communicating. You have some husbands that like to talk, that like to have communication, but every time, if he come to you every time and you don't fix it, or you got an attitude, or you mad because he said something, and I'm just speaking for me, because that's me. I'm always on the defense. I feel like somebody's always attacking me. God is delivering me. Continue to pray. Pray for him, because he's strong to continue to stay. But yeah, keep it open. Keep it open. Don't fester. That's our whole thing.
Don't let it fester.
That's it.
Because if you let it fester, and then like she was saying, like you thought about it Friday, it happened Friday, and then you let everything cool back down, and then Saturday y'all were all in love and everything, and then Sunday comes up, and some triggers that from Friday, you know, something that he said from Friday, or 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, or you know, however long you've been holding on to it and you haven't said anything about it. That is a determining factor, or a good factor, that you are not ready to be able to handle some stuff, or you may not be able to communicate it the right way, because a lot of times it comes off as anger and frustration and strife, and 9 times out of 10 it was just that you were hurt at that moment.
Right. And sometimes we got to understand that communication is not always going to be comfortable.
that's a good one right there. Cause you be like, why you talking to me like this?
Right, because you can't get what you need in a comfortable place. Like when somebody's telling you something about yourself, you're uncomfortable because it's true.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hear it. But guess what? They love you enough to have this conversation, and they want to fix whatever the problem is. So feed off of that. Don't feed off the fact that you and your feelings and you upset because you said something to me about this thing that you're not supposed to touch, you're not supposed to say anything about. Feed off of the fact that you love me enough to say, baby, I want us to fix this so we can move on from this.
Right.
You got to have communication. So what it was bringing two cultures together.
The two becoming the one. The one. And we talked about compromising in your relationship. And we are talking about communication in your relationship. You got to have those. These are things that we wished somebody had talked to us. And a lot of times you have those in premarital counseling and things of that nature.
Well,
but
we didn't
go. That's what I'm saying. We didn't go.
that.
We didn't have that. But some people don't go to premarital counseling. Some people don't go to counseling at all. They think you're weak because you go. But counseling helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, counseling helps you recenter yourself sometimes, and it's okay. It's all right to have counseling. It's okay. Y'all can come to us. You know, we'll help you out. You
ain't got no problem. Ain't nobody even got to know it. It won't be on no live.
Period. So, like I said, we thank you all. And like I said, it's going to be a part 2. We are going to record and we are going to get this content to you because you all need it and you all have been asking. We thank you all for your support. We love you all for that. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be trying to put it out there like this. And we appreciate you all. If you want to get some shirts, I put a link in the description, and you all can go there, get you a couple shirts, you know, if you want to support. And let us know what you think in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. Comment on the video, like the video, share the video, and we'll appreciate
and subscribe.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. And go follow us on Instagram. We are on Instagram. And so, I know a lot of people don't do Facebook, a lot of people don't do YouTube, but you do Instagram.
Everybody's doing Instagram.
So you can go follow us on Instagram. We're trying to get our followers up. So if you can, tell your friends about it. Even if they're not a couple, you can tell them about it.
Everybody wants to be a couple eventually.
And we are the definition of couple goals.
Okay,
no. You just got. You gotta love us.
You gotta love us.
We love them.
We love y'all.
We love y'all. And so we thank you all, and we're signing off.
See you next time.